What's going on, Spitfires? Welcome back to another episode of the Spitfire Podcast. I'm Lauren Lemunion, your host for the next couple minutes to an hour. Who knows how long we're going to go today. I am joined by Andrea Lyons, the founder, CEO, and executive producer of All About Productions. She's based in Richmond, Virginia, and I had to get her on the show because I met her a couple months ago during Catapult, which is an activation incubator type program through Capital One, and I was presenting on innovative mindset, and I was just so struck and attracted into Andrea's energy that I was like, listen, you need to come onto the podcast. And she not only survived the pandemic, getting through a very visual in-person business, they were able to shift, pivot, shed, do whatever they needed to do, get scrappy to build and grow throughout the last 2 years. And so we kind of went right into the podcast today, started talking about dreams, and then I was able to kind of pull away and see what might be holding Andrea back and getting to the next level of her business. So what happens when we're in survival for so long? How do we get addicted to stress, and then how do we break that addiction to get to where we want to go next? So I'm super excited to share this episode with you. I hope that you get a lot of good nuggets out of it, maybe catch yourself in some of the potential pitfalls or loops about stress. And I hope that you get inspired to see yourself into the next iteration, the next phase of your business. Enjoy. But you had a really great dream last night.
I had a really great dream last night, and it was so weird. I listened to, for the first time, one of those meditative, like sleep, you're supposed to fall asleep to it. So I fell asleep. The dream that I had, I was in the desert, right? And there were the sand people. And listen, there were 7 levels to the sand people, okay? 7 zones to the sand people, right? And I apparently was trying to get through each level for my freedom. Okay. Cause this was a very, it was a regime like of people, right? Wow. Yeah. The sand people. And they would keep you from going to the different levels. So I was at like it was almost Hunger Gamesy, right? Like District 1, District 2, it was like that. So there was but there were 7 of them. And I was at 7, and I was going through, and I was making my way through. And around level 5, I met this really nice young man. He was so sweet. And he got me through these underground tunnels of the sand people, because it was all desert. That's why it's the sand people. Mm-hmm. All the levels are desert. He took me to level 1, right? Which it was like this secret path into level 1. We went through 3 different levels, or the remaining 3 different levels. We got to level 2. And then at level 1, which is apparently freedom because it's unmarked. It's an unmarked level. And it was like a secret access to this level. And so in order to go, it was myself and my mom and him. And so to get through this level, there were people, the sand people were after us. We went through the secret passage, but you had to lock it behind you so you would know they wouldn't follow you to the freedom. So the nice young man he stayed behind, right, with the sand people, and locked the door so they wouldn't know where it was. And I said, I promise I'm coming back for you. I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna come back for you, etc. And then when he closed the door in my dream, I remember thinking, I don't know that I'm gonna be able to come back for him. It was so strange. Anyway, the level 1 people were great. Okay. Yeah. They had a whole system figured out. And apparently the reason why they were level 1 people is because they would fight back against the sand people. So the sand people pretended like they didn't exist so that people wouldn't get a taste for freedom. And I know, and this was my dream last night, listening to this hypnosis guy on YouTube. And so I woke up this morning and I thought, whoa, I feel like I should think about this. And what does this mean? What is happening in myself, like my subconscious?
Yeah. Well, so much to unpack there. And amazing stuff. And the fact that it was a guided hypnosis, like I'm understanding all these kind of universal principles and analogies and metaphors. Mm-hmm. So we met in Capital One's catapult program. And I brought the
Yeah.
woo woo out for you. So
Yes.
I'm so
Yeah.
surprised that you're like, yes, Lauren, I will do a podcast with you. Because you came in here and you're like, listen, I'm going to see your woo and I'm going to raise you a woo woo.
I'm telling you, I came in hot, didn't I? It was like,
I love it. Listen, this is a Spitfire podcast. If you're not coming in hot, what are you doing?
coming in hot.
So we talked a lot about, energy blocks and levels. And I didn't even dive into the 7 levels of energy that I'm certified in. So when you're like, there's 7 levels, I'm like, yeah, there is.
What? This is a real thing. It's so serendipitous. I'm telling you, that's wild.
Yeah.
What are
And
the
so
7 levels of energy?
So there's 3 kind of zones within the 7 levels. So the first 2 are about self-protection. So the first step is like, life happens to me and I have to protect myself. Like I can't win. Why bother? And then the second level is like, I have to win and you have to lose. So it's kind of this inner to outer. And then in levels 3, 4, and 5, it's about mastering yourself in interacting in the world and the people around. So 3 is about kind of this bridge between protection and mastery, where it's taking in a lot of information, assessing, like not really moving, not really doing anything, but just kind of like asking questions and wondering like, how do I win here? And then level 4 is about taking care of people. So I win when you win. I make sure you're good. It's like this nurturing caregiver. And then level 5 is bringing all the people together, like really like tinkering of ideas and resources and like trying to get to that next zone, that next level there. And so once 5 goes up to 6 and 7, that's self-transcendence. So that's us leaving like the physical embodiment and going into that joy in level 6 and the absolute passion in level 7.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'm at 7 or 6. I'm working on, wow.
Well, so here's the thing. We're all dancing throughout the day.
Okay. All
You'll
right.
have pockets.
Yeah.
They're not meant to be stayed in. You're not meant to like build a house there and get your commune. Like you are meant to flow based on the situation and what you're responding to get the best outcome. And that's how you know that you're mastering it.
Wow.
It's a dance.
Wow. That poor guy. I definitely feel like it was a I won, you lost thing. That is so, but I definitely, that poor fake guy that I met, he was so sweet.
But let's flip that. Like, what do you think his intention was?
Yeah, totally to help me get to the first district and my freedom. Totally about freedom.
So where did he get value?
Yeah, helping me get free. Yeah.
Was he expecting anything from you?
No, but I'm sure he would have wanted to be free. I'm
you
trying.
Don't know.
I'm convincing. I don't know. I feel like in my dream, I was like, no, we can do this. I don't know.
If he wanted to be free, he would have run up and caught up with you.
Maybe that was part of that was my, he was my like shaman. He just led the way.
And sometimes there are people in life that are there to lead you along the way. They're not meant to go with you.
Wow. That is so true. Then how do you, I'll talk singularly about me. Then I definitely have spent time hanging on to people when they really were just meant to kind of guide to the next place. And that's it. Right. So how do you determine who's in it for the long haul, right? Like a life partner, right? Where you hope that they're here for a long term. And then the other one, it's like, hey, this was just from point A to point B. And that's it. How do you know which is which?
You don't. And that's the beauty of it when you can detach from the outcome.
Oh.
So the people who are meant to be along for the ride, and I won't even say a lifetime, the people who are meant to go along the ride with you will align themselves with you and you will get value and you'll get that inner knowing. And when people are meant to be more short-term lesson givers or learners, you will feel at some point that it outstretches the tenure and it starts to create that body friction where you're like, something doesn't feel right. And it's usually because you have outgrown them and need to shed them.
I love that. You called him a lesson learner. lesson giver.
Lesson giver, lesson learner. We are all students and teachers at some point.
Yeah. That's great. That's
yeah.
great.
And actually, so this, like, you haven't listened to today's podcast,
No,
but it's about
I'm
spring
gonna listen
mentally and emotionally, because I'm about to move. I'm moving to a city that I have been to once.
Congratulations. Where are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to Denver.
Oh my God, that's like forever far away.
Yes, but it's a Zoom
from
call
the East
away.
Coast.
From the East Coast, yeah.
But from the East Coast, it's
like but it's
2-hour plane ride.
More like 3+.
3-hour plane ride.
But I think you bring up a really great point, is we are constantly iterating and changing. And if we're reconciling the value of people in our lives and we're thinking we have to bring everyone along, how much weight are we carrying that's actually holding us back from where we want to go?
What I'm wondering is, with like, how do you divorce yourself from the outcome if you're a goal-driven person, right? Like, so success is, if we're taught to have goals, and success is getting to this milestone, how can I divorce myself from that milestone or the outcome? Because that's what I've been planning for, is that outcome, right? That's what I wanted, is the outcome. So how do you divorce yourself from, or how do you not be attached to whatever the outcome is?
Here's what I would say. What is the feeling that you are looking to feel after the outcome or achievement?
So, okay, for me, it's typically a case of, I want to feel successful.
Okay, I want you to breathe into that, because that felt very surface level to me. I want you to imagine that you have achieved the level of success you wanted to. Breathe into it.
Ooh, okay.
Who are you? What do you feel?
Ooh, I was going to say powerful, but that's not it either. Vindicated. Ooh, that's rough. There's a whole lot there.
Who is that about?
Girl, yes, I have been working on that for a while.
So here's my question.
There's like 4 or 5 people that's
and
about.
we don't need to address them, because here's what I'm focused on. Who are you when success is only about you?
Right. Exactly right. So one of my goals is, I would love to make like 10 millionaires, right? Just 10 people that, because of their interaction with me, they have become millionaires, right?
Yeah.
But is that about them, or is that about me? Like, me feeling the success of them being a millionaire makes them go, see, I knew I was right. All my advice was right. You guys, if everyone just listened to me, then everybody would be successful, or everybody would feel that way. So I do think there's like this element of control.
Okay.
That is part of it too, but certainly vindicated would be the one word I would say. It's like,
what's on the other side of the coin of vindication?
Relief. Yeah, relief would be great.
That
would be great.
Like, you're a legacy builder, not to show anybody, because you know you can make big change in the world. You know the power of like unlocking that in yourself.
That is so true. I do. I feel that way. And I definitely have an eye for, it's always thinking like generationally, thinking about the next generation of what does that look like? And, very, not in a, like Alexander Hamilton way, but like, who's going to tell your story? Right? Like, what does that look like for you in the future? Who tells your story 100 years from now? What mark did you make?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's legacy.
That's interesting.
That's relief. That's positive psychology to get you to where you want to go. What about a specific goal being achieved gets you that feeling of relief?
If I will say my goal is open a new office, right? I open another office somewhere. So in opening the office, I would feel like my reach is greater, right? So this is more people that I get to touch, if you will.
It's impact. You're having more impact, more legacy.
Absolutely.
I'm getting goosebumps hearing you say that. That ain't about vindication.
That's a fuel though. Like, I go back to that. It's kind of like, it's like Michael Jordan used to make up stories about his opponent, right? They were not true, but he would make up stories like, he said, what about me? And that, because that was served as his fuel on the court to like, perform very well.
That's a lot
Understand
of
that.
competitive energy, which sits in
Mm-hmm.
level 2. It's really good for short-term bursts, but because you're a creator, you
Mm-hmm.
need to transition it into that higher consciousness. So level 2 is that I'm right, you're
I
wrong.
win. I win.
I
You
win, you
lose.
lose. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna make that
Mm-hmm.
story up. I'm gonna compete against you, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
whatever those
Yep.
are. And if
Mm-hmm.
that gets you off your butt and gets you moving, great. But make the conscious decision to transition it into that higher level passion, joy, creation.
Yeah. What was number 3 again? I want to
So,
baby steps.
so 3 is like taking in all the information, but I think you would get real
Gotcha.
bored there. You'd be like, I gotta go do something. I gotta make something. Let's go.
And what's 4? I'm
Four
gonna get
is the
this.
care. Four is caregiver, so taking care of other people before you. That's where you get stuck. We
Mm-hmm.
have had some interactions before, but
Yeah.
like I read energy off of people,
Mm-hmm.
like as a hobby and as a profession. So like I immediately know where people's sticky points are.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know where the key is to unlock it for you. And like you've already pinpointed it. It's just you like giving more stock to the thing that really fuels you on a
Mm-hmm.
long-term basis. Like waking up every day, asking yourself, what am I going to do that's going to build more legacy and have more impact in the world?
I think you're right. I love it when things are easy, Lauren. Oh my God.
Welcome to my world. And it's not that
Right?
it's
It's so
easy
much.
because it's like it's
Mm-mm.
accessible, but it's like just going, like opening yourself up to the possibility and finding those cracks to enter
And
where the light is.
I would say not, I would say it is easy because, like, all of it is hard, except there are easier ways, right?
Sure.
Like, the whole thing is hard. From start to finish, this thing called life is hard. Like, everybody suffers from it. Like, nobody gets what they want all the time. That does not exist. And so, but I think there are some things that are easier than others. The ease of the transition.
Well, and you just hit on the word because I was going to be
Mm-hmm.
like, it's not about it being easy, but about finding your own ease in the
Mm-hmm.
process.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever I feel like I'm trying to control, whatever I feel like I'm trying to predict in the future,
Mm-hmm.
where can I let go of the grip and just ask a question and wait to
Mm-hmm.
see what emerges? Like, I've changed my move plan like 4 times. Like, am I hiring movers? Am I doing a pod? Am I going to move it myself? And I'm like, I'm
Yeah. Are
literally
you?
going to sell every piece of furniture that I own and just take what I can pack in my car because it's what I do. Like I literally shed everything when I move.
Are you gonna get movers? Like, you're
No,
not moving yourself. You're moving yourself.
I'm not taking anything with me. I'm taking clothes
Oh,
and my computer. That's it. I'm restarting.
yo, Lauren, that is spring cleaning. That
Hell yeah.
you're just like, it's just clothes and that's it.
Close my computer. Yeah, I mean, I'm taking the iMac with me.
So what are you gonna do with your stuff? I guess. What do you
Selling
do?
it. I'm giving it to people who need it more than I do. Yeah. It's just
Oh,
stuff.
it's just stuff.
It's just stuff. I'm taking my artwork
Just
because like
stuff.
I love my art. I love creating. But I can
Yeah,
create new
but
stuff too. So literally in May, I'm gonna have like an
wow.
estate sale and just say, come buy it all.
That's so great. That has to feel so freeing.
It's
Yeah.
not floating. Like,
Like a
and that's the thing is we
snake,
hold
new
on to so
skin,
much
new
stuff that does
skin.
not serve us. And it's like,
Yeah.
does
Mm.
does the pink upholstered bed make me a better person? No, it's cute, but like I can get another bed.
Wow. I can't even fathom the freedom that is. Like, really, where you
Yeah.
just go, you know what? I'm done. That's almost like when I was little, my mom and I we didn't have a lot of vacations. We didn't come from a pocket of money we were very, 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 very middle class. And so sat right in the pocket of that, right? Lower middle class, actually, but we didn't do a lot of vacations, right?
Mhm.
So my mom and I always used to imagine when we did do vacations, I would think, Mom, it'd be cool if we did not have to pack anything. Like, if we were one of those people that could just go to somewhere and you just get there and you buy all new stuff, because that to me feels very easy. That feels like a vacation, right?
Yes.
The vacation is kind of, for me, because I'm taking baggage and luggage, it's not really vacation. Like I don't feel like I'm relaxing because I have to take all this stuff and put it in the airport, and then we got to go or a train station or whatever, and then you got to be responsible for it when you get off the transportation method like an airplane, and then you got to pick it up from baggage claim. It just feels like it's a weight. It feels like a whole weight the whole time, and you're like, oh, all I want to do is just get to the property and like lay out by the pool, and that's all you want to do. I don't want to wait for all this stuff. So I was telling her, boy, it would be really nice if we didn't have baggage. That'd be so nice. We could just go. And then when I get there, I'm going to buy a bathing suit. Why? Because that's when I need it. That's when I need a bathing suit, is when I get there. I don't need one right now. So what do you say for someone like me, where like, I feel like, okay, I do have a place that I like, a city that I think I would love. But it suits me really well, which is Arlington, Virginia. But for many reasons, it just feels like it suits me, right? It's like, oh, I could live here. These are my people. Even when I'm there, I'm like, oh, these are my people. I know I don't know these people, but I feel like I should know these people and they should know me. So I wonder though, even if it was further away, what about for people who feel like I have all these obligations, I have all these responsibilities, and then, but could still want that same level of adventure and want that freedom?
Mhm.
What would you recommend? Like, because I have all these people, I don't have all these people, I just have people that work for me
Mhm.
and they count on me. And I do think if I really thought about it hard, there might be a way that I could like move somewhere else and not require that of them.
Mhm.
But then part of me is like, no, it's gonna, I give it a year and it might fall apart. And so what do you say to people who like want that sense of freedom, want that sense of adventure, but they can't get up and move like you?
Anybody can get up and move. It's choice. The question is, what obligations are you defining as being stuck or definitive? And what
Mm-hmm.
can you adjust? What has wiggle in it to give you more freedom and more adventure?
Like, what do you mean? What do you mean by
So
like, I'm thinking of my own life here. I'm gonna use me as
we're going
my
to focus
own.
on you. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll focus on me. I'll use my own life. So I have this business. I have these people that work for me. They're not gonna move. Well, incorrect statement. I don't know that they wouldn't. I'm not gonna pay to move them. So
Mhm.
let's say that was off the table. So what if I wanted to live in Austin, which is where all the people live, right? Everybody goes to Austin or Denver. What would I feel like I would be stuck in so many, but I can't because. So how
Okay.
do you work through those? I
Change the
can't
question.
because I can't because.
I can.
Okay.
I can
Mm-hmm.
because it might work if I do this.
Mm-hmm.
I might be able to
Mm-hmm.
do it when this happens. So
Mm-hmm.
it's more about creating the plan of, okay, so what would it look like to potentially manage a remote team? What would
Mm-hmm.
it look like to have multiple locations? What could it be like to not be in the office every day? What could
Mm-hmm.
it look like to have two locations in different cities? How might
Mm-hmm.
that actually grow things? So if our questions are about what we're afraid of, we're just reinforcing what we're afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
If you truly want to explore it, change the question and explore it.
Yeah, I think I got a lot of, but it can't because I got a lot of that. Because I think about money. I'm thinking about like, well, who's paying for this and how's that going to work?
Okay.
Like, where does that money come from? You
Okay.
know?
So, but money is a great excuse. But the beautiful thing about money is we can quantify it. And when you can
Yeah,
actually
that's
ask,
true.
how much might I need?
What would
What
I need?
what would I need? What would
Mm-hmm.
they need? How much
Mm-hmm.
would it cost? Like, but if
Mm-hmm.
we're using this ambiguous like money, it's going to stop us in our tracks.
Yeah. But it does take money though. It does.
Sure, but
Unless the
how
word,
much and what is it going to take? And then you can build a plan from there. But if you want to just stop it, it's going to take money, then great. Then that's your
mm-hmm.
stopping point. And you don't really want it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely feel like I have that where I just get stuck sometimes with like, it's like, oh, it feels big. All right. Well, I'm going to walk away from that for a minute.
I've got a great podcast, the one before today, last week with
Okay.
like Tracy
Okay.
Litt. And we literally talked about the abundance mindset. Essentially, where you are today is because of your thoughts and actions. And if you want to get somewhere different, if living in Arlington or living in Austin is really important to you, you need to change your thoughts and actions to meet that goal.
I've had a moment. Okay, let me throw this at you, Miss Lauren. So for 2 years ish, yeah, 2 years on the dot in a couple weeks, we have all been in this mindset of, I call it the Hunger Games mindset, right? And certainly in what I do. So I do events, which if the government says you can't meet with other people, that's like an immediate stop to my livelihood and those that work with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a sort of, I call it Hunger Games because I literally felt like for the last 2 years that it is kill or be killed, right? So, and what I think serves me well in those instances is I have killer instinct, right? I do. And I'm okay with that, right? Level two, level two over here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it serves me well in those sorts of environments, right? So the pandemic, we actually grew, right? Like the business grew, like we tripled in size during the pandemic. It was insane, right? And so now that things are returning to it doesn't necessarily have to have that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to operate in
Aha.
that. I don't know what that means now.
Yeah. So assessing the environment that you're currently
Mm-hmm.
in and also the
Mm-hmm.
environment you want to be in requires a different mindset,
Mm-hmm.
requires different actions. And I think this happens a lot. If we don't reset, and I think you've just had the acknowledgement of like, I need
Mm-hmm.
to reset in a way that serves me more because you don't need to be fighting as hard. Like, you don't need to fight in the same way. Like, be hungry. Yeah. Like,
Mm-hmm.
go
Mm-hmm.
out and get it. Like, that tenacity. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
How do you want it to express now? Where do you want it to generate
Yeah.
from? What's the
Yeah,
source of
I don't
it?
know. Yeah, I don't know because it is. I do get that that's a different mindset. I'm telling you that Hunger Games mindset was absolutely necessary
Sure.
during the pandemic because it was just businesses falling left and right. I mean, they were just going out like, like it was like cannons in the sky, right? Like you would
Right.
see it and there's a logo, right? Boom, another logo, right? They were just falling. And so now I don't know that that's the case. And in fact, I think things are growing in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think this is one of the times I think more people are starting a business than
Yeah.
almost any time in recent memory, I think, recent history. So a lot of fruitfulness is happening, but that mind shift change, uh, that's something I definitely need to think about because I don't know what that needs to look like on the other side. Like what how like so I guess that's part of it. Me getting to what would it be like if is very difficult because I'm like, we've got to stay alive to tomorrow, people, versus, well, what would happen if? I think that's a privilege. Like the ability to have that kind of conversation. I always say that too. I have a very diverse audience. It's mostly women. So I guess it's not that diverse in my office. So in my office, it's all women, but that's not intentional. I have tried to diversify our base, but it is all women of all different ethnicities. But we've talked about that before is like a point of privilege is being able to think about what you're thinking about is a point of privilege. My mother never got to think about what she was thinking about. She had to
Right.
work. That's what
Right.
she had to do. She was not thinking about how she felt about a situation and then unpacking that. She never did that. So, because why? Because she had to go to work. She worked 3 jobs. She did not have time for that. So that's a privilege. But even in thinking about it in this way, it is a privilege to be able to think about, well, what would happen if? And I've been so used to not having that as a privilege for quite some time
Mhm.
that I don't know, I haven't spent time thinking about what would it be like if at all to even have before I even get to money. And let's pretend that's not even a thing, but to say, what would happen if we wanted to everybody work remote? You work where you want to. Or what would happen if we were like, we got a beach office, which would be great, right? Because that would be an office near the beach, pick a beach. But
Yeah.
I just to have those thoughts, it's very foreign.
So I wonder if it's not just about you having the thoughts, but about
Mm-hmm.
bringing this amazing team that you've built
Mm-hmm.
together to really brainstorm what could the next iteration and next phase of your business be,
Mm-hmm.
and getting their ideas, because you had to, captain that ship. You had
Mm-hmm.
to get scrappy in those moments. This was your business and you're like, let's go, let's go, let's go. You were in a new environment, a new role, a new vibe. And
Mm-hmm.
so resetting and acknowledging that is the first step of saying, we got to this point being this way.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we want to be and how do we want to show up to align with that?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
everyone is on board.
Wow, I wouldn't have even thought to ask him that. I wouldn't have. Like, what do you guys think about what the next what ifs? Like if we just did what if we did this?
What
What would your
ifs?
what ifs be? What
Yeah.
what would your what ifs be? What if we were able to be off on Fridays in the summertime? I don't know. That's as far as I got. But
I
I've
mean,
never thought to
what
ask
if you
them, what
had a
if?
what if jar or a what
Yeah.
if basket and everyone could just throw them in and then you'd have like what if Wednesdays or something?
What if Wednesdays? I like just playing with those ideas.
Mhm.
And I think for so long, I just haven't been able to play with like the what
Right.
if ideas because there was no what if. It was we
It
need
is.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And
Yeah.
we need to. We need to.
But what a gift to give to yourself and to your team to like really harness that new vibe. Like we have come out of it. We didn't just survive, we thrived in it. We grew. So what's next for us?
What if? What if? That's a mindset change. I'm gonna have to like turn off a whole side of my brain to kind of do that. It's gonna be like
I
just
saw it trying to, it was like, I
it was
want to resist you. I want to say something.
yeah, yeah, because that's the side that keeps you alive, right? Like that's the part, I've told my team in
Yeah.
like a pinch, I was like, listen, if we have a zombie apocalypse, follow me. I can get us out of this thing. Like I have survival instincts. I'm telling
Right.
like a skill set, but always not necessary.
But do you
Right.
see how you may have inadvertently been creating crisis situations for those survival instincts to come out?
I will have to sit in that for a while because that could be true. I can't think of an idea off the top of my head, but I'm sure there are some where it's like, ooh, ooh, that makes my skin itch. I don't want to talk about me anymore.
I'm
I
going to
feel
generalize then. I'm going to
okay.
generalize. So
Ooh.
stress is addictive.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do things with high levels of stress, it creates a pattern and it signals to our brain, use stress to get things done. I'm really good at survival. I'm really good at getting things done. So we inadvertently are either looking for and or creating situations that trigger that stress because our brain knows you can get it done that way.
Oh, but oh man, is that bad? Let me ask that question. Maybe is that a bad thing?
It got you to where you are, but
Mm-hmm.
will it take you to where you want to go?
Could.
That's the
I
question.
don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. Oh
But maybe the question
man.
is, what is the role of stress
What is the role of
that I
stress
want to have in my future?
that I want to have in my future? What is the role of stress that I want to have in my future? Although I've been talking about relief, so obviously I don't want that, right? Like relief and freedom is like the business for me.
Your words.
Like bottle that. Relief and freedom would be great. I'm gonna have to sit with that some more. Now I got stuff to think about. Now I'm gonna have another weird dream. Gonna have
No,
another weird dream
blame
with
it
the
on
sand people.
hypnosis.
Huh?
Blame it on
What'd
the
you say?
hypnosis.
Yeah. Oh, let me tell you something. That is YouTube videos are real because I was like, I hope I won't wake up clucking like a chicken. But it was obviously very opening in
Mhm.
my mind, in my subconscious to like see the things that I'm thinking about and things that need to be addressed, right?
Yeah.
Do I create and I will say yes to that. I can think of one particular thing that I'm in right now that it's like it's one of those things that just resurfaces again.
Mhm.
Every so often it just resurfaces and I'm like, you would think by now I would know better and do better, but I haven't. And so I wonder if it's an enjoyment of or an addiction, that's the better way to say it, the addiction to having to be scrappy or having to be,
Yeah.
and that's the motivation. So I guess what would happen if it wasn't? Like what if it was easy? What if it was easier? Would I be bored? So maybe I'm not challenged enough. Like kids, in a classroom where they get bored and then they start messing with other people, like I used to do in class. I used to get in trouble for that
Yeah.
when I was
What do you want to
little.
be challenged by?
I love a good challenge. A good something to figure out is always great.
Mhm.
And that could be it too. Like when you figured out something and you go, well, I got that. That's great, but I could do this in my sleep at this point.
Mhm.
And then putting myself in those situations. Oh my God, I need to, wow. Oh, that's worth thinking about. I would imagine that other people have that too, where it's something
Absolutely.
where you put yourself, whether it's a partner or a partner choice, like
Mhm.
um what did Maya Angelou say? Same man, different pants. Same man, different pants. Yeah. What
And I
else?
would
Like
say sometimes the same pants.
facts. That dims is facts right there. Yes,
Mhm.
they keep coming back around and you go, well, I shouldn't, but you do. So that has happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Interesting.
underneath that,
Mm-hmm.
um, whenever there's kind of like the addiction or other behavior patterns,
Mm-hmm.
I'm convinced there's trauma and or resentment, which I think go hand in hand. And so if you truly want to shift it, there is a healing process that needs to happen. And the first step is being aware of it, of addressing it and acknowledging it. And then really speaking to it of like, what is it that I need to heal within myself that honors this part of me?
Yeah. There's probably a resentment. And I guarantee you there's a trauma. I've been actually working through that. Like, what are all the times that I felt a certain way
Mhm.
about this thing? And then how does that manifest itself and has shown up over time? And then I've never really thought about if the two are joined in terms of certain behaviors with when I feel this feeling, then I have this behavior or what have you. I don't know if that's the case, but I definitely know that it has repeated itself.
Mhm.
How, story for a different day. How does one heal? What does that look like?
It's a process. Actually, last week I did a webinar, a workshop on releasing
Mm-hmm.
your workplace resentments. And so it first starts as friction against your values, and then kind of the ignoring or the piling up goes from annoyance to frustration. And then the
Mm-hmm.
frustration kind of like bundles up and gets bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where it's like anger and rage. So rather than us voicing, protecting, we have these triggers in us that's like
Mm-hmm.
gives us the behavior, the surge of adrenaline or endorphins, whatever it is we're looking for, that give us that heightened emotional response to kind of express out what we aren't able to, or we don't feel like we're able to express, that
Mm.
actually gives us our desired result. So it's taking apart the past story. And I always say, like, absolutely work with someone on this, because
Yeah.
what we don't want to do is to keep reliving it. And if we're in our
Right.
head, it has the tendency to do this. So I write everything. That's why I journal a ton. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually
Mm-hmm.
created a
Mm-hmm.
workbook that's PDF fillable that goes through the 10 steps. So it's looking to separate facts from story. It's looking to see, what does this do to me? What does it do for me? Where am I getting
Yeah.
value from it?
Wow.
And then
What?
repackaging it to actually serve
Uh-huh.
you in a new way. Listen, and I'm
Hmm.
gonna be real honest with you, because if you are not ready to do the work, be prepared to work in other
Yeah.
ways. Like,
Yeah.
the struggle is real if you want it to be real, but peace and ease is real if you're ready to do the work.
Yeah, that work is it sounds like work because you have to sit in that. When you're saying that, I'm like, oh man,
Hard,
that's a long and
but it's worth it. It is so freaking worth it.
I gotta go back 40 years, man. That's like a lot to run through. At least 35. I gotta go back 35 years and
Same.
run through that. Wow.
I run through it every day.
Yeah.
But it gets easier, meaning you know how to handle it. But it's that first step of like, I am worth more. My happiness, my peace, my ease is worth it. And so I'm going to be uncomfortable right now. I'm going to sit in it. I'm not going to run away. I'm not going to avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I had someone say, I'm not ready to do this. I don't want to do this. And I was like, cool. I'm going to keep doing what I do, because I know
Yeah.
what's on the other side of this. I unlock this for other people. I've unlocked it in myself. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking, yes, short term it's work, but holy shit, it's so amazing.
Okay, but then okay, you are right. There's no but. You are correct. It is amazing. I am also thinking I got a lot of work to do, man. I don't have kids, but if I had kids, it would definitely be like, that's a thing. And it's like, I got to go to work every day. I don't want to sit here and think about this.
You don't think
Like,
about it all day. It's literally 5 to 10 minutes of your life to just
uh-huh.
shut the noise out and to
Okay.
listen to your inner voice and to write it down. That is
I could
literally
do
how
that.
simple it is to start.
I could do that. I actually really like journaling. I do think it helps. I agree with you in that it helps me at least know what I'm feeling and capture it somewhere.
Mhm.
That is nice about journaling. And then I do have like aha moments and things, that inspiration that strikes while I'm writing, and I can put things together and all of that. But I agree with you. I think I would need somebody. And also, I don't want to pretend like I'm sidestepping here, but can we go back to workplace resentments?
Sure.
Yo, you did a
Yo,
whole workshop on that?
sure
And that, because
did.
that's real. Like, I do
I
feel
invited you
like,
to it on LinkedIn. Did you get it?
no,
I messaged you
no.
about it.
Oh my God. I feel like that's real. And I feel like that's an amazing workshop to have.
I do it for teams.
That's what I'm saying, especially coming out of what we just did and this virtual world where you don't get to see you don't get to let off. Okay. So I know this is just a hypothesis on my part. Hypothesis. Yes, a hypothesis. Yes. My guess is what I've seen is that because of people not having conversations with each other, that's like, I like you, Lauren, as a person, even though you're my colleague and coworker. Every now and again, we disagree, but I also like you. You're my
Mhm.
friend. We hang out. I see you when we go to lunch. We have things, we take our lunch at the same time. You're still my friend, right? Even if I don't get a chance to work with you every day in the virtual space, people, it's just work, right? Like,
Mhm.
there's some version of fun, in quotes, some versions of fun, and we sell it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, we sell team building and virtual things and all of that. I get all that. But I'll be the first to say, is it the same as like reaching out and touching someone? No, it's not the same. So when teams get together, we are noticing that people don't talk to each other or have water cooler conversations. And so by not having those, all you talk about is work. So if there is any friction in the workplace where it's like we disagreed on something, there's no basis of friendship or kinship, I guess, to base it under. So now I'm just angry, like, you're not doing your job and I sent you this email and whatever, versus that feeling of kinsmanship where it's like, I know, but I like Lauren. She's funny. It's like we disagree on this thing, but I still like her. She's fun. So I wonder, like, that, I feel like that to me is going to be something that a lot of companies need to address. And as a third party contractor, we see it a lot.
Yeah.
A
Well,
lot.
I would say this has been going on, but I think
Mm-hmm.
people had a lot of coping mechanisms, i.e.,
Mm-hmm.
alcohol and happy hours,
Mm-hmm.
or they were
Right.
just
Yeah.
rolling their eyes or at the water cooler talking
Mm-hmm.
smack.
Mm-hmm.
What is lacking is a sense of community, the
That's the
personalization,
word.
the humanness.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk about 4 stages of psychological safety. People do not feel inclusion safety.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so they're not even expressing the annoyances, the frustration, the rage. They're just disengaging. Or it's coming
Yeah.
out in passive aggression, in snark, in Slack channels. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
popping up in new ways and it is all over the place.
Yeah. It's a lot. And then people leave, right? And
They
I
do,
think
or they
that was you with me.
stay, or they
Uh-huh.
stay and they're disengaged. And then you have presenteeism.
Yeah, I read your article about that, about the numbing, right?
Mhm.
Great numbing is what you were talking about. I know that there's this big terms for it all the way around. I know Kara Swisher, great journalist, podcast host, but she termed it as the great reassessment, which I love that too. Like, people reassessing what is important to them. But I think the numbingness is part of that too. I actually had someone say that to me once, which she said she felt just numb, like
Yeah,
nothing
it'll be
can
like
come in.
unmotivated,
Yep.
unfocused.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
comes in. It's just numb.
I would say the reassessment are for people who have the privilege to assess.
And that's a privilege. Let me tell you something. Anytime you get to think about what you're thinking about, it is a privilege. It
Right?
is a privilege.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a privilege that I can write articles and I have the time and
Mm-hmm.
space to do that. I understand that people are so depleted
Mm-hmm.
energetically. They don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like they have the space. They have
Mm-hmm.
their mental bandwidth and their creative bandwidth is non-existent. And so that's why when I see people coming from this like mountaintop telling you, "Oh, this is what it is." It's like you don't see what's happening in the grass
Mm-hmm.
blades. Like you
Mm-hmm.
are in the clouds. And so people like Simon Sinek who is like, "What's your why?" Well, listen, bro, I can't survive right now. I am
Yeah.
like in it. I don't know if I'm going to keep my job. I don't know if I can get up this morning. I don't know if my kids are going to be in school. I don't know if my mother or father is going to die. I don't know like if I can go out on the street and not have like not get arrested. Like all this
Yeah.
shit is coming
Yeah.
and you're coming like just think about your why. What's your why? That's
Right.
self-actualization, which is privilege.
Right. I actually really agree with that because sometimes your why is not so and I like Simon Sinek a lot. I like his content, but also sometimes we have these like what we call hood sayings, right? Or hood feelings when you really are in the hood, Lauren, and your why is because you got to eat. Okay. That's
Yes.
my why. Why are you
Yes.
working this job? Because I need to pay bills. Because
Yes.
Dominion don't pay me. Dominion doesn't take why as a form of payment. That's
It's my
why.
purpose, Dominion.
they don't they don't take that, they don't take purpose as a form of payment. Okay. they, they take card, ACH drafts,
Yes.
okay, and
Yes.
checks. They don't take why. Okay. Now, if
They
they
don't take a
took
smile as
why,
payment.
no, no, no. That's my why. My why is to pay my rent or
Yeah.
my mortgage. That's my why.
So
Right.
here's
And so,
here's here's my shift on it. It's
mm-hmm,
not about the why because to me, why is rationalization and
mm-hmm,
tolerating, and it also gets you stuck in the
mm-hmm,
past.
mm-hmm.
I want people to focus on what is most important to you right here, right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so good. This was great. So
I'm
good.
so
That's like a great
glad.
line. I don't want to say anything after that. Focus on what is like that's it. That's the end of the podcast.
Well, if people want to make your Arlington dreams come true, or if they
Mm-hmm,
want to come see you in Richmond, how do they look
mm-hmm.
you up?
Allaboutpresentation.com. Allaboutpresentation.com. That's our company. That is, we are insanely focused on getting people to connect always, right? So we want them to connect with each other, with their teams, with their companies that they work for, and ultimately connect inside the home with their families because they are more joyful, more happy in what they're doing and feel more fulfilled. And so we do that through events and strategic communications, particularly video content.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for providing some audio content for our listeners and jamming out with me today.
Thanks, Lauren. This was great.
I'm sending a big virtual hug.
I know I need it because now I got to sit in my like, what ways do I cause my own pain?
No. What ways do you create your own happiness?
I know it. I know it. All right. I'm going to
Overthinking.
do that.
You got it.
Overthinking. Okay.
Picking that
All right.
wire. All
Thanks,
right. Thanks
Lauren.
so much. Bye.
Okay. Bye bye.